Please welcome to Google New York, Chris Stang and Andrew Steinthal, a.k.a. Immaculate Infatuation. Hi.
Hi.
Again.
Thanks for having us.
It took us like 2 months to write that bio.
And it is a great bio.
Sounds really good, though.
It really does. I'm very
coming
impressed.
Out of your mouth.
Well,
really.
Thanks.
Well done.
I've rehearsed it like 10 times this morning, so
cool, I'm sure.
I'm very excited. So these guys have a great presentation to share and some basic background about who they are and about the website and how it grew. So I'm going to turn it over to them, and then we'll do some Q&A after.
Let's not get carried away with great presentation. It's actually a PowerPoint.
No, we should
I've
actually
seen
build it
these
up
photos.
to be. It's very technical.
They're very tech savvy, and the photos are.
There's an algorithm involved. You'll
Yes.
be impressed. Hi, I'm Chris. This is Andrew.
Greetings.
Thank you for having us. This is all sort of very surreal when we do these things, because you have to understand that we still sit behind a computer and write these restaurant reviews every night and forget that people actually read them. So it's nice to be here. This is cool.
This is great.
So I guess the presentations we've done when we've done this have just sort of started off with us talking about how we started the website, why we started the website, kind of how it grew, where it is now, and then eventually where we think we can take it and what we want to do with it. And then we'll get into that awesome, very impressive presentation.
Amazing pictures.
So Andrew and I met about 10 years ago. We were both at our respective universities, Colorado State for me, which is Jackie's alumnus too, and then Andrew was at Ithaca. And we were both working in college radio, so we ended up at the CMJ Music Convention, I guess it was the year 2000. And it was right during the time when Carson Daly was in the heat of it. He was the baddest dude on television.
TRL was hot.
TRL was really hot. And
remember that time? Those were crazy times.
It was
fun.
Music was a huge deal then.
I know.
It was not
TRL.
like it was today. Not that music's not a big deal, but I mean it was the marquee event. It was
Epic.
Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney and things were happening.
We miss those days.
Limp Bizkit. Oh yeah.
So we had a mutual friend that ran sort of a music company, and he had somehow weaseled his way into getting passes to go to the TRL studio. And we each sort of independently got a phone call that was like, dude, come down to the TRL studio. And absolutely we were going. So we ended up meeting each other as we were standing in line to go into the studio. And I think Destiny's Child was on that day.
Amazing.
And we both sort of got stuck in, they put us right in that corner window right behind Carson. So we were sitting next to each other. It was like, oh, what's up, dude? And they went through one segment, and Carson was doing his thing. And they basically walked up to us, and the commercial break came on. And they were like, you guys got to move. We were like, what are you talking about? They're like, you're not clapping enough. And so basically, they pretty much subbed in two 14-year-old girls that would lose their mind every time he said Beyonce or whatever else. And we got relegated. We got relegated to the crowd off camera. But we met and sort of got along and hit it off, and then kept in touch until we graduated, and then ended up both in New York City after school. With a mind set on the music business. We were convinced that we could sort of take over the world and combine our combine our talents and into some sort of music career Voltron.
Yeah, so we kind of came up together in the music business and always had this idea that we wanted to do something. We really believed that we could do something together. We weren't exactly sure what it was going to be, but we knew we could do something. And we had lots of ideas along the way.
Yes.
Most of them never materialized. We had a t-shirt company that made one t-shirt once.
We didn't even sell it.
No, but I have it. I
Yeah,
just
we
got
still
rid
have
of it. I think I donated
Why didn't you wear it?
It didn't fit. It was terrible.
It was bad. Yeah.
Anyway.
It was a really deep V.
No, it wasn't. It was a crew neck, dude.
All right.
Okay. So, we had a couple ideas. We work in the music business, so, I do publicity and Chris does marketing at Atlantic Records, and I work at Warner Brothers Records. And we became the guys in the office that knew the city really well, were always out, and people would kind of come to for recommendations, whether it was bar or a restaurant or whatever, because we were going to all these shows, we had bands to entertain, bands to take out to dinner, so there was a lot of decisions to be made, and we would likely be the ones to make those decisions and plan a fun night around a show or with a band or whatever. So we wound up going to tons of dinners, eating a lot of meals, going to a lot of shows, and it just became this thing where people would come to us with all these things. We're like, damn, if we can if we can recommend places for our friends in the office, and then, our regular friends outside of the office, whether it's like our friend, banker dudes from JP Morgan or whoever being like, yo, dude, I got a date. Where should I take her? Whatever. And come through for them. If we were becoming these guys, we were like, maybe we could make something of that. Because there wasn't really anybody talking our language about restaurant reviews and restaurants.
I think that's the key, is like we sort of realized as our friends would call us and be like, all right, where am I taking my mom for dinner tonight? It just sort of occurred to us that they were calling us because there wasn't a good resource for them to find it otherwise. So the New York Times wasn't necessarily filling that void for them. Yelp was probably too much there's too much noise there. And so it's hard, I think there were just, friends of ours were finding it difficult to find a place to turn to find a good way to sort out from all the restaurants in New York City where to go specifically for certain things.
And for trusted, for people that they know you guys, they trust you guys. And yeah.
So then it just became, can we do this on a larger scale and serve that purpose for other people?
I think a lot of it is just putting, going out to eat is not, a lot of places that do restaurant reviews, it's very highbrow, it's all, and for us personally, a lot of it's over our heads, like we're not, we are not food critics. We are not, I mean, at this point, I guess we are food critics, but we're not experts in the field of culinary, brilliance. Like we didn't, we didn't study it. We don't know the ins and outs of it, but we know New York City, and we know restaurants, and we know how to kind of read a situation and whether a restaurant's good to take a girl there, good to just go scope some hot dudes there if you're a female, like good to go with your parents, good to go for whatever the occasion may be, and I think it's putting that into context that people can use on a daily basis that's kind of made it separate. Because a lot, when we would go look for restaurants in the past, we'd go to New York Magazine, because that was probably, a resource that we used to go find things, and we'd click, Chelsea and Critics Pick. But like Critics Pick was really one of the only search functions that you could actually pick to find something that you might, where you might want to eat.
Yeah.
So using that, kind of thinking about that and be like, okay, if we can expand this and really make it something that is useful on a day-to-day basis, we could be onto something that people might find useful.
So how did you expand it? Like you started as a blog or a website, and
I don't really know what the difference is anymore. We just put up a website. I mean, I guess it was sort of chronological, right? Like we would plug a review in, and then we'd plug another one in. It would sort of move it down the list, and we had tags so that you could sort by. We called these things perfect for categories. So perfect for date night, perfect for girls' night out, whatever it was. And so we didn't really have a conversation about it. It was sort of just like we just started writing restaurant reviews. In one, we sort of made up a format and then put the perfect for categories on it, and then just started plugging it into the sort of chronological, I guess, blog format. And then after probably like 6 months, we knew from the outset that we wanted to move really fast, and we wanted to start cranking out restaurant reviews so that it became a useful database quickly. So probably 4 or 5 months in, we started talking about, all right, how are we going to make this searchable and make it something that you could dive into and start, add more than one parameter to search by and things like that. So we were really just like, we're winging it. We're still kind of just winging it, but we just sort of put it up online. And the funny thing was that once we put the first few reviews up and started sending it around, it just started spreading, and we sort of felt that reaction almost immediately. It's kind of funny, like going back and looking at the emails we still have from people. They started coming in like within a couple weeks of putting it up. So that was really then the motivation, is to say, okay, like let's keep going, let's keep doing this, and let's figure out how to really grow it and serve a purpose.
How many years has it been that you guys have been?
It'll be 4 years in April that we put it up.
And how many followers or community? How big is your community now?
I think between our app and the website, we probably hit about 100,000 people a month.
It's great. It's powerful.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I think we're still overwhelmed by the response to it, and I think a big part of what we realized early on too is that we really wanted it to be more than just a website. We wanted to build a community around it, because we were getting such great, passionate response and people saying like, look, you've become my go-to for restaurant reviews, and I love the way you write, and I feel like we kept hearing from people that they felt like we talked like they talked, and that we eat like they eat, and that it was just relatable for whatever reason. So at that, as we would discuss things, we just decided, look, like I think we're doing it right. Like we set out to serve a purpose for people that didn't maybe have a great resource for these things, And it occurred to us that that's a community. Those are people that, why wouldn't they like to hang out with each other, and why wouldn't they want to meet each other and sort of be around other like-minded people. So we've always, from pretty early on, thought of this as more than just the website. Like, how are we going to connect the people that read the website together, and like really build a community around it. So
Very cool. So what kind of things are you guys doing now? I mean, I know Turkey Leg Ball, which I went to, which was a great event.
That's our one time a year where we kind of get married.
it's the infatuation wedding.
Yeah, no, just kidding, but not really. It's the one time we get our community together, and just throw a really good party. We bring in interesting, try and do something cool on the food end. Last year we had Union Square Events cater it, which is Danny Meyer's catering company, and they did, the whole theme was turkey legs, and it was lots of huge turkey legs and girls eating massive turkey legs, and it was funny and very photogenic too. There's lots of good photos that come along with, eating a big turkey leg, but and just get a lot of really good booze sponsors and have some good music and just have a non-stuffy food party, because a lot of these food parties are, white tablecloths, $200 a ticket, really high scale, and
Tastings.
And we want to just go have fun, but you can do that with food as well. So, this year we brought in a restaurant from Austin, foreign and domestic, who we really love.
Amazing.
We did our South by Southwest dinner there last year, and we were just blown away. And the chefs there, Ned and Jody, are husband and wife team that are just awesome. And we wanted to, bring them to New York for a night and attempt to feed 500 people, which they did, and it was great. And we had some great booze sponsors, Macallan and Bruegel Rum and wines from Domaine Select, and it was just cool. It was a fun time.
Yeah, that's a good example too. I think the party, it's funny how that kind of developed for us too. We just, about a year in, we're getting such great response from people that reached out to us. We thought, like, all right, can we get these people in a room together? And the first year we did it, and it was great. It sold out really fast, and it was a lot of fun. So we decided that was going to be something we used as a way to sort of community build again, and we want to do more of it. It's really difficult to put on a successful event, and it pretty much kills both of us every year. But it's fun. I mean, we find that like the group that comes out is like ready to have fun and ready to eat. Like our chefs from this year, we had so much food, and they came up to us at the end and they were like, I don't know who these people are, but they eat, man. And like they were blown away by the amount of consumption that was happening on all levels at the party. But it's fun. It's definitely fun. So that's something we want to grow, and I think
it's interesting to see too, because the people are starting to know each other. Like from the people who communicate with us online, like on Twitter and on Instagram and stuff, they're starting to communicate with each other a little bit, and then they go to the events and they're starting to know who they are. And there are definitely some people we've picked out from the crowd that we really like think are hysterical or think are entertaining, and are just like blowing their spots up online and making a big deal out of it. And it's really interesting just to see it go from the web and then go into real life, and these people actually talking and becoming friends and connecting with each other and feeling like they're a part of something that's more than, that's not just a website, that's kind of some.
It's really interesting that something that I'm really fascinated by is the idea of taking something that starts on the web, bringing it into an actual experience, and then also bringing it back to the web and how that grows. And I think one of the reasons and the things that I love about your site and about you guys is you do that really well. Whether or not you're giving yourself enough credit for it, but it's fun and it's entertaining and it's great to watch. It's great reading, because I feel like when I read your website and your reviews, I feel like it's how you talk. It's not like I'm reading something very formal. I feel like you guys are. I mean, you talked about one of them. You write something about ectoplasm from Ghostbusters, and it's very entertaining and it's very fun and user friendly. So,
thanks. Yeah, I think we've just always kind of tried to think in terms of like what we like and what people we know like, and really that you hit it on the head. We're not writers, so we just write like we talk, and try and inject humor into it. And I think we always also wanted to be one of those sites that people visit every day. I think you have a handful of websites that you have bookmarked and that you hit every day, and we always wanted to be one of those. And so I think more than anything, we just wanted to be like part of people's lives, right? Like more than just a website, but something that people like feel like they're a part of and rally around and enjoy interacting with and all that. So it's been fun. I mean, look, we sort of talk a lot about where we're going to go with it and how it grows, and I think that's probably the challenge that's been the most difficult for us here at this point. You kind of brought up a good point. We're talking about a few different parts of this. One of which is we still have a lot. We can grow a lot in New York City, so we're obviously trying to do that, and we want to be much bigger than we are here. But then we also start talking about national expansion and how to do that, and the challenge is like, how do we find people that are like us that to sort of start it in other cities and to write in other cities, because I'm not so sure you can just go grab like a writer and put them on the case of writing restaurant reviews for another city and have it feel the same way that it feels for us in New York. I think it's very key to have like just a common average person that loves to eat out, maybe that has a good sense for like, dropping an F-bomb like at the perfect time in a restaurant review or something. But I don't think we can just go hire people that write for other websites or that write about food. I think that's sort of the thing that we're trying to figure out is like, it's almost like on the music side, it's like A&Ring a band. Like you got to go find like great people in other cities that can do it, and then grow it. So that's kind of the place we're in now, is we're basically starting a process that over the next year will have us start to expand into other cities, and we'll show a couple. I'm sure most of you that are familiar with the site have seen the app and some of the other stuff that we do, but obviously like product development and on the mobile side is super important to us. So those are some of the things we're going to focus on as we move forward. But it's funny, like that's sort of as much as this has been sort of us just like winging it based on gut instincts for things and what we think people will like. When you start to get into that place of like crossing over into how do we like grow this and do it well and do it smart so that it works in other places, that's been it's tricky.
Very. Can we take a look at the app?
Yeah, sure.
I'm actually curious to see. I mean, for everybody to take a look at, but also, is the focus going to be on growing mobile? Is that where?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. The app was one of those things that we talked about. We couldn't understand why no one had done an app that was just really simple. Like I'm standing here, what's around me. I mean, Yelp obviously has that function. You can search a Yelp thing and then flip it over and see the locations around you on a map, but it's not curated, right? And I think that's maybe one thing we haven't talked about. That's key for us is the curated voice seems to be something that people really want online in a lot of topics, right? So there's so much user-generated content. There's so much. Everybody has an opinion. So many people in the tech world now are coming up with like apps and things like that aggregate, everyone's opinion and try and like weight it based on whatever they decide to weight it on, so that there's more credible people, I guess, in your feed versus less credible people. But for us, we just feel like the one-way opinion is helpful. Whether or not you agree with us, that's up to you. But at least you know where we stand, and it's a one-way opinion. We don't have commenting on the reviews for that reason, because we don't want you to read a restaurant review and see our opinion and then have somebody right under it just be like, yeah, right, or I hate this place, because it just sort of undermines, even if it's only a little bit, it undermines the validity of the opinion, I think. So
the curated aspect.
So to go back to the reason I brought that up is the mobile thing. We just felt like, why doesn't New York Magazine have this app, or why hasn't somebody else done this? And we kept hearing from people in our community that they just really wanted the ability to take the website on the road, and when they're out, I'm sure we've all been there where you're standing around and you're like, where am I going tonight? Or you walk into a restaurant and the wait's too long and you're trying to think of a backup plan. So really the biggest thing with the app was the first and most important function was the nearby function, which is just basically a very simple geo-aware map, and it shows you our reviews around you. So
can we take a look at that?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
So we'll show you. It's very, very technical and impressive.
But that's one of the things that's great about it, is that it is very straightforward, but it is very user-friendly. And I think the thing that's really interesting is that it's your voice. You guys have a very strong voice, but it's very friendly and
Thank you.
very straightforward.
Can you guys see this? No?
Can you guys zoom in at all on that?
It's not optimized for iPad.
No, but
Sorry. Yes.
yes, right now. Is this working at all?
I mean, if Google wants to pay for our Android app to be developed. We are.
By the way, no problem.
Completely down.
Can you guys? I mean, does that work at all? Can you see it? So that's like this is the nearby function. It's pretty simple. I mean, you'll see these little pins that each have our reviews. Is that better? There we go.
That's totally on Google now. It's on Android.
So, the way the app works is you open it up, and the first thing you see is our first 12 reviews, just sort of chronologically, that we've written, and then a little intro to the review, and you can go deeper in and read the whole review from the home screen. And that's just, we obviously knew that we had to have all the information in there, whether it's the restaurant information, the ability to share it, so on and so forth. But like I said, so the nearby thing is as simple as it sounds. It's just basically I'm standing there, and here's the restaurant around me, and you can basically get a little summary of what it is before you dive in. And then it's searchable by a bunch of, obviously you can basically search it and stack the filters so that you get, you deduce it down to a certain review based on location, perfect for cuisine. And then it started out, part of the thing we did because of our music business background, part of the thing we started with was we started doing reviews, restaurants that were close to music venues, because that was something that, at least for the two of us, was really useful, because we were going to a show and we needed to know where we're eating before that show. So we sort of expanded that out now to like landmarks and things like that people that are in town from other places might use. And so you can basically just stack a bunch of filters up and hopefully find a couple of options that are useful. And then the last one that sort of came towards the end of our development phase was the hit list. And basically the hit list for us was just an answer to all of our friends, including us, that would like start a note in their iPhone or on the BlackBerry or whatever, or even like an email draft and list restaurants. Because I know tons of people still do that, right? Like you have like, somebody will tell you about a restaurant, you open up an email draft or something, and you write the restaurant name down, and then you lose your BlackBerry or something, right? So the way that we decided to deal with this was you go in and you basically you read a review, and if you decide you want to hit the place, you just add it to your hit list, and then it'll be in there, and then that'll turns the pins red on the map. So hopefully when you're seeing a whole bunch of different restaurants, you'll see a couple red pins and realize that those are hit list restaurants that you want to go to.
Very nice.
And so that's the app. I mean, it's pretty much the same. We basically had a few versions. We added the social sharing to it not that long ago, but it's pretty much the same as it was when it started. It was a guy that now runs product development for us, who I used to work with. It was the first app he ever built, he and his friends. So we got really lucky. They did a great job with it. We feel like it's really simple and easy to use, and it's done really well for us. It's been a really big part of our growth, and I think it's been probably the most important thing we've done since we started the site. So
Nice.
Yes.
Do you only feature places that you recommend, or perhaps would a pin show up and be like, stay away from
No, the pin's got everything on it. I mean, in the app you can get any review that we've done, whether it's a good or a bad review, and you can, because you might like that restaurant, like you might disagree with us. I'm not looking to take bad reviews out of the app.
We also want you to make sure places that we don't like. The point is that the whole point is that you're not going to go there and have a bad experience. Like, we're trying to keep you from wasting money on a terrible restaurant, and obviously that's subjective to some extent, but that's what this is for, right? Is to sort out the good from the bad, and we have an opinion on it. So everything on the site is in here, and we definitely review restaurants negatively. And that's also something that we get a lot of feedback about, is we're just really honest. Like, we're very careful not to have ties into the restaurant community. We're not friends with chefs. We don't tell people we're coming into restaurants. We don't go to restaurant industry events. So we try to stay very far away from it, because we want to remain outsiders, and it also allows us to just be completely unbridled and honest if we don't like a place, and we
might get killed one day, though. There are a couple of people out there definitely want to destroy us.
That's true.
Yeah.
Are you able to share the hit list with your friends?
Next version. It's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
Working on that.
The question
because that's
was,
important. I mean, that's important. I think being able to take the hit list and share it, like not even just share it with your friends on your iPhone or whatever, like but like online, on Facebook, on your blog, on Twitter, wherever you want to share it. I think that's a big part of building this community up. We've started to have this community, and now we want to engage the community, right? We don't want to have comments, but we want people to be able to kind of use Immaculate Infatuation, make it their own, kind of like, and build upon that, really get people to interact with the site and kind of use it for something that they'll enjoy using and be able to share with their friends, and can kind of quantify a lot of this stuff better. And we're working on that for the soon.
I think that goes back to what you were saying too. It's sort of that take it from online to offline and then back online again. That's sort of the next stage for us, is really using the mobile part of this to connect everybody. So that if you're using the app, you can, like you were saying, share the hit list, but you can maybe also find out where somebody's going tonight, and build in a bunch of information into the mobile side of it too. So that's definitely a big part of it for us.
Very nice.
How are you keeping your reviews up to date? Are you
We stay up till 2 a.m. every night writing restaurant reviews.
Do you mean like older reviews? Yeah,
That's a problem.
Well, we've done a good handful of updates. I mean, we've definitely sort of realized from the earlier stuff that we've done that there are places we definitely need to go back to and reassess, and we try to. But there are also places that are just, I mean, for New York City, if there's a restaurant that's still around and it's been there for 4 years, there's a pretty good chance it hasn't changed all that much. I mean, the menu stuff probably changes, but like Freeman's Alley was one of the first places we reviewed, and that place is. We actually updated that review since we started, but those places don't change all that much. But that's something that that's something we're going to start probably doing more of, especially now that we've been around for 4 years. It wasn't such a big deal up until pretty recently. So.
And you go back and read our old reviews, and we're just like, wow, these are terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see this presentation.
So yeah, we'll get in, I guess, to more questions, but we have a frequently asked questions presentation.
I could answer some of the questions that could be in the room.
So this might answer some of the ones you have already.
Okay, don't judge me. It's not my computer. There's cats in the background. It's my wife's computer. Those aren't my cats. Not that cat people are horrible, but I just would rather be qualified as a dog person than a cat person and have problems with this whole cat thing. Anyway, okay, sorry.
We should probably put that into the FAQs presentation for next time.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you guys meet? We already kind of went over that, but this is us at the Grammys.
And
like
we
the
weren't
first year we ever met, and we legitimately wore that and
To the
thought we were awesome. And
Let's clarify something though. We weren't invited to the Grammys. We bought tickets.
no, we didn't buy tickets. We got free tickets.
We got tickets.
We were excited.
We weren't.
It's like
we weren't
the best day ever.
Right, but let's just be clear.
that
We were
point.
not like invited because we were some sort of luminaries from the music business. We were two guys in the nosebleeds at Madison Square Garden in tuxes that we rented.
And I wore a Knicks headband.
And a Knicks headband.
The Patrick Ewing retirement game was that week. It was important. When we're real puffy here. I mean, that's
And that
when we were,
tuxedo,
like,
that tuxedo's 3 sizes too large.
Okay, next. Where'd the name come from? So that is the original Immaculate Infatuation. That is a fake British rock band that we dressed up as, me and my friends, for Halloween one night in college up at Ithaca, and put on British accents and called ourselves Immaculate Infatuation. And it just kind of was a name that always stuck with me, and I just liked it. And I guess the world was in need of a food blog you couldn't pronounce the name of, and Immaculate Infatuation was born because we didn't want to be something cheesy. The other thing we were thinking of was Eats Beat, because it was like food and music, but that was real lame. So we decided to go with Immaculate Infatuation instead.
This is a very astute use of clip art, by the way. It took me hours to do this.
The answer is what? 3 days a week? 4 days a week?
Yeah, I mean, it's
As much as possible,
Yeah.
but it's tricky. No.
Especially not this guy. I hope that guy doesn't work at Google. So yeah, we like I said before, we obviously make it. That's sort of like a cardinal rule. We don't tell people we're coming ahead of time. We don't accept offers to be guests of chefs or restaurants. We just go in and eat just like anybody else would. It's really important to us to have the same experience that anybody going into the restaurant would normally. So the answer to this is because we run like we're getting chased. Basically, both of us run probably like 12 miles a week just to work off the pork buns and bone marrow that goes into our system. But
Now I'm really into SoulCycle.
yeah, he's into SoulCycle, which is
I'm fine with admitting that.
that's. Why are you guys dating? This comes up less now that Andrew wears a wedding ring, but that was a lot of that. We dealt with questions like that a lot.
The answer is no, but we have probably one of the gayer straight male relationships that exist.
And that's
Yep.
true.
And we are definitely in a serious relationship.
Exhibit A. Photos like that. Go back.
Whoops.
Your speed.
I don't know how to go back.
Can somebody help?
Previous.
Go back? There you
There we
go.
go.
Keep going. So yeah, I mean, look, I think Andrew touched on it a little bit. We write pretty much entirely late at night. I think we both are up till 2 or 3 in the morning, many nights finishing reviews, and then the weekends are obviously full of activities that are based around Immaculate Infatuation. But I mean, I'm sure lots of people here have experienced it. It's like you have a moonlight hour job, and it's one of those things. If you're passionate and you love it, it doesn't really seem like work, but you realize that you're probably doing very bad things to your body by not sleeping and only eating restaurant food all the time. So it's great that we get reached out to all the time. This is even more relevant now because we are looking for people to do some writing for us in other places. But it's funny, like, we've always kind of, the food blogger thing is an interesting, there seems to be an interesting sort of perception around that word, and not that we're averse to it, but it's funny. Like, I guess the reason like that image is there is we try not to be like food bloggers in the sense that I think there's a bit of a sort of a like
Stigma?
no, not a stigma. I think it's almost like the word foodie, right? It's like people use it to sort of separate themselves from other people, and it's like, wait a minute. You like food? No kidding. I can't believe it.
Oh my God, I like food too.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, look. I think we're obviously on the lookout just for people like us that love to eat and aren't food bloggers already and aren't writers already, and but also sort of have similar interests. So
Great.
Yeah.
so that's it. I hope you like the clip art.
The clip art was amazing. So before we open it up to more questions, we have some questions that put together, and pretty basic, straightforward, but something we'd like to do here is some speed round questions. So I have
Ready.
a couple different versions.
Do we have to go fast?
Yes.
Okay.
Very. So the first round is speed round Immaculate style. So in New York, the best place for action at the bar.
Spotted Pig.
Yeah.
Never lets you down. Always action. So much action. You just
Especially
got to be
the-
prepared for the action.
Yeah.
Gotta be
Second
ready for
floor
the
bar.
action.
Yeah.
Chronic brunch.
Ooh, that's a good one. Chronic brunch. Cafe Habana, probably.
Cafe Habana. I mean,
It's cheap. It's awesome.
Clinton Street Bakery. The lines are impossible, but if you go there on like a weekday, I mean, the pancakes there are just absurd. Like
They are amazing.
They're amazing. Prune also for just straight brunch is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Dinner with the parents.
Either Maialino, Maria, depending on who your parents are. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly, Babo's great. Like, some of those classic restaurants. I love Blue Ribbon Brasserie, which is the original Blue Ribbon, not the sushi place.
Good.
Moss Farmhouse.
Yeah.
My mom loves that place. It's a good spot.
Moms love it. Moms approve.
5 points too. That's a great
Yeah.
parents' place because that's like not as fancy as all the other ones, but like really good. Like for the parents, that's like really cool. Like they go in there like, wow, I'm having like the most awesome downtown New York night right now.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
There's a tree inside the restaurant. That's
Yeah.
always impressive.
And what about impressing out-of-towners?
The Momofukus are always good for that. Same thing with the Pudo, just because it's such an anomaly. I love that place, and it's just
Amazing.
crazy. Those places are great. I still love the Blue Ribbon Brasserie one for that too, because it's open till 4 in the morning, so you can always blow people's minds by like having a full-on amazing dinner at 2 a.m.
It's good stuff. So besides the cafeterias at Google New York, where's the favorite place for you guys to eat right now? locally or
Locally,
U.S.?
just Chelsea Market count, because you guys are really lucky to
Yeah.
have that across the street. I
Chelsea
mean, we
Market.
work in Midtown, and we got to deal with Rock Center for lunch, which
it's
is
terrible.
brutal.
Yeah.
And Chelsea Market is just like an oasis of incredibleness. We like walk around there, we're like, holy shit, what would we do if we actually worked here? It'd be great.
I would say that probably the best answer to that question for us right now is Austin, Texas as a whole.
Interesting.
That city is amazing. There's so much great food there, and there's, we go a lot just for South by Southwest, but it's also just becoming a place we go just to eat because there are incredible restaurants down there of all shapes and sizes, and whether it's barbecue or a place like Foreign to Domestic, who we brought in for our turkey leg ball. There's just, it's a great city altogether, but the food especially is amazing.
Awesome. So being in the music world, I need to ask, if you could have dinner with any musician, who would it be and where would you eat?
Good question.
That's a really good question.
Jay-Z at Lucali, that would be awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I would like to join that dinner.
I would. Can I join that dinner?
Yeah, I think Lucali
Can we
might be
make it
closed
happen,
forever,
Jay-Z?
but we'll figure out where Jay-Z likes to go after that.
Nice.
I'd go with Tom York somewhere, but he'd be real weird. I'm trying to think of what like the weirdest place you can go and not speak to somebody is, probably because he probably wouldn't speak at the dinner table. He'd probably just like freak out and whatever.
That's a good answer.
That's awesome. Okay, so the second set of speed round questions. This is googly style, as we call it in New
Googly
York.
style, nice.
Googly style.
Got it.
So pick the best answer, the best one that most suits you, and we'll do Chris, and then we'll go right to Andrew. So, coffee or tea?
Coffee,
Neither.
Ooh. Brown liquor or clear liquor?
brown,
Brown.
Hip hop, West Coast or East Coast?
It's not even a thing anymore.
It is for me and my generation.
West Coast,
Nice. Tupac,
Coast.
East Coast?
Yes.
Tupac hologram, resurrection or lawsuit?
I'm gonna go with lawsuit.
I'm going definite resurrection.
Right.
It was awesome.
Legos or Muppets?
Muppets, 100%.
Legos.
Nice. Kicks, Nike or Converse?
It's the same thing.
Converse.
Now. No, but I'm saying like it's.
Yeah, but
Oh,
totally
and-
different styles.
You're not
Absolutely,
you're not doing
but-
this right.
Okay, sorry.
I'm going to say that you,
Nike
Nikes,
all the way. Thank you, Nike. I love my sneakers.
dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark.
Milk.
They are really the perfect pair.
Yeah.
Last question. You're totally housed. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Pizza or burger?
Burger.
Really?
Yeah.
Joe's Pizza.
Very
Final
nice.
answer.
So if anybody else has any questions, I know we did a little bit before, but you guys are welcome to go to the mics, and
Or just raise your
or
hand.
just raise your hands, and we'll repeat the question.
No, I want to do this like a presidential debate where we like face off. Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to ask about turning this into a business, perhaps where you could get rid of your day job, you don't have to stay up until 3 a.m. Is that where you want to take this?
So just to repeat for people on VC and recording, she's asking, growing the business, staying up now until 3 a.m., is it something that eventually you want this to be your primary?
Yeah, look, I mean, we're lucky in the sense that our day jobs are sort of dream jobs for us. It's not so much the situation where we're sitting and, chained to some desk where we feel like, God, if we could only get out and do this thing we're passionate about full time. Clearly, though, we would love to. I mean, it's something we are really passionate about, and we're ambitious. I think we have lofty goals for it. So just like anything on the internet, the monetization part of it is tricky, and it's also tricky to do it right and do it well. So that's sort of something we're figuring out as we go. And I think we have some pretty good ideas in terms of what we can do, but it's also, we're just trying not to speed into anything because I think that's when you make mistakes. So I think it's sort of that, like, if you build it, they will come mentality. If we can just do something that's really great and build a community around it, then the rest of it will hopefully come together.
The one thing we can definitely control is the content, right? Like if we continue to focus on the content and build, make things that people want and continue to build this thing, I think we'll figure it out along the way. Do we have a master plan as to how we're gonna make a ton of money on this and be able to leave, whatever? No. But we have ideas as to what we want to do, and we think we can figure it out. So, just getting there.
Any other questions?
What is the best burger you've tried?
What is the best burger
Like every
you've
burger
tried?
is the best burger.
I love the one there's a place called the Burger Joint in the Parker Meridian Hotel here.
It's good.
And it's really, really good.
There's different kind, like you can't, like one burger, there's like a fast food
Yeah.
burger type, you know, there's like
What's your, like, go-to
the mid
burger?
burger, the restaurant burger, you know, it's,
They're great. That place is amazing. Hop Dotty's in Austin. It's another one. Like Austin is so loaded with places that place doesn't even make a lot of people's lists of great, Austin restaurants. But yeah, I love it. It's really good. And they're really creative. They have like, it's certainly not all just like your traditional burgers. They do all kinds of different. I think there's like an ostrich burger on the menu or something. But yeah, it's great. I love it.
Cool.
Is there anything you don't or won't eat?
The question is there anything that you won't or don't eat?
I'm pretty much a equal opportunity eater. There's not much on my list I don't think there's really anything I won't eat.
I'm really picky. I mean, I'm like, compared to him, there's a lot of things I won't eat. Like mushrooms, I'm petrified of. Like Indian food scares the shit out of me.
Indian food?
Yeah, olives. Ugh, I don't understand how people eat olives. It's disgusting. They're disgusting.
So this is interesting. So you guys go into a restaurant and you're like, I'll have the mushroom and olive pizza without the mushrooms and the olives.
I
And
just
it's like,
will
I'll have the
purposely stay
pizza
away
with the
from
brain and the
mushroom.
tripe on it.
Right.
It's gonna
But
be,
it's funny because I think that's also part of what like helps us remain relatable is like not everybody that eats at restaurants is Frank Bruni and is willing to like take down or Anthony Bourdain and willing to take down like tripe, So I think that also like I'm certainly more adventurous. Andrew's a bit more picky, but that's what people are like, aren't they? Everybody has a friend or a boyfriend or a girlfriend that doesn't eat all the same stuff they do. So.
nice.
How many times do you visit a restaurant before writing a review?
Good question.
Is how many times do you visit a restaurant before you write a review?
It depends.
Yeah.
We can go once. We could go 4 times. It's just if we go and have an experience with a bunch of people that we really feel like we've tasted the menu and we feel like we get the vibe and we know what the place is about, we'll weigh in. But a lot of times it'll be 2 times or 3 times where we just want to make sure that we didn't just go have like a fluke of a meal or whatever, just had like a couple dishes and then weigh in on a place. You want to give a place a fair shake. You want to get an idea of what they're all about, what their serving is, what the crowd is, and all that. So sometimes you can do that in one time. Sometimes it takes a minute. So.
But at the same time, it's also, most restaurants don't get that luxury from normal people that just walk into a restaurant. Like if a place bums you out for the first time, there's no chance you're going back. And so it's sort of something we try and balance is like, yeah, maybe they're having an off night, but consistency's it's a huge part of a great restaurant, so it definitely depends, but we're not afraid to go into a place, have a bad experience once and write about it being a bad experience because that's what happens,
Yeah. In the front?
Are you specifically looking for more off the beaten path kind of places that are maybe less well known, or are you just likely to go to a super popular, well known place?
Try and mix it up, we love to try and unearth, some local finds, and we rely pretty heavily on our community sort of to kind of unearth those for us, places that people email us all the time and get after us on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, and they come at us with recommendations and places that we've never heard of. We'd love to go, find a place like, you could talk like post office and
Yeah.
in Williamsburg, it's a place that nobody's really written about that much, but it's incredible. Like it's easily one of our favorite places in the city. It's just a brown liquor joint that's got oysters and grilled cheese and pulled pork
Steak
sandwiches but it's perfect. It's exactly the kind of place that we love, and the food's awesome, and but nobody's really written about it really.
It's funny too because that place we gave like a 9.0 and nobody had written about it at the time, and those places give us a really good opportunity to sort of see what we can do with our community, right? So if we really put a stamp on a place like that doesn't have the New York Times or New York Magazine or whoever else writing about it, it's great because we actually see the impact of it. We'll see people on social media a couple of days later saying that they're there. And it's cool. Like it's hard to have that opportunity because there's so many other people writing about all these other restaurants. It's hard to tell like what impact you have.
I think the post office review is the first time we ever actually could see that we made a difference somehow. Like I think that after that review that weekend, like we had so many tweets from people at the restaurant. That place is small, like that place maybe fits 40 people, and like there were like 10, 11 different groups that were there. We're just like, holy shit, like there's people actually there because we gave it a good review. So
Cool.
it's cool.
Aside from like obviously New York City and then Austin, do you see any cities that have like really exciting scenes?
Yeah.
So just besides New York and Austin, and
Yeah.
what others do you know of other cities, or what other cities that has a really exciting food scene?
It's funny, like every city now, it seems that they're, just because the restaurant culture's changed so much in the last 15 years, like I feel like every city has like some little pocket of an amazing restaurant community growing up around it. But there are certainly cities that are just being overtaken, like Portland has a great restaurant scene. Seattle obviously does. San Francisco is huge.
Nashville. I want to go to Nashville.
Nashville.
Nashville's got
Nashville
some
is
really cool stuff going on.
Awesome food.
Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Even DC is starting to have a cool restaurant scene. They've got some great restaurants. So those are probably like the top of the list places. Chicago obviously has tons of restaurants. We left that one out, but those are probably like the sort of top of the list in terms of at least places we put on our map of
And LA.
you know, LA's funny. LA's great, but and I've spent a lot of time there. For me, the food that really is memorable in LA is the ethnic food.
Yeah.
So whether it's like the Korean food or, you know, Little Tokyo downtown, to go to LA and go to the restaurants that are sort of like New York style restaurants, there's very few that live up to it, you know, and every single one of them has a valet in front, which just seems really weird to me. But it seems like in LA,
I live in New York.
yeah, it just seems like in LA, it's like the places that really get talked about a lot in LA are more sort of like scene places. But the great food, there's a few places we love, but the places that really in LA that really like are memorable, to, at least to me, are the ethnic food.
Yeah, there's amazing food out there. Anybody?
How do you guys decide where to go next?
The question is, how do they decide where to go next?
we
Yeah, their own
definitely
hit
maintain our own hit lists. It depends. Like, you know, people will tell us about places. Social media is great for that. Our community is great about giving us heads up on restaurants we need to go to.
There's no real, like, science to it. We just kind of, like, oh shit, we need to go there. Like, remember, you know, and oh, we haven't done a Brooklyn review in a couple weeks. We gotta get out to Brooklyn.
We go to, you know, websites like Eater are great for that because they definitely have they keep a good list of openings, and we also try not to just depend on like what's brand new. So we'll try and sometimes we'll just go look around a neighborhood and think like, what are these places that people talk about in this neighborhood and places that we might have missed. We ended up at a place called Kajitsu in the East Village a few weeks ago that has been there for years and it's got a Michelin star, and somehow we just hadn't been there. So it was great. It's just funny that New York's so unique in that sense that there's so many restaurants that you really can spend years. We've written 600 restaurant reviews and we feel like we're barely scratching the surface here, you know.
Do you usually go with other people or just the two of you?
No, we go. We
Questions,
try and.
do they go
sorry.
by? It's okay.
I
Do
can
they
I
go?
can redo the question if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He's the moderator, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, but Andrew, take it away. Go for it.
In terms of whether or not we go, like if we go together to restaurants or if we go with other people, you like that? That was good, right?
Excellent.
All right, cool.
He's got a bright future here.
We definitely.
You're done. We don't need you anymore.
I know. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna go grab some.
Part of the fun of this is getting a big crew together and going to eat. You know, I mean that's kind of part of the game. We're constantly setting up dinners, constantly going, you know, finding random people who share our similar interests and are, you know, trying to go with a bigger group. You know, not a huge group, but a group that's sizable enough where you can taste a lot of things and overorder and all, you know, just kind of get into it. And we don't go together all the time. We definitely go together a lot, but we try and split it up so that we each have different things to write about.
Good.
Are you paying for all of your friends?
No.
Oh, you guys gonna
Definitely
repeat
not.
that?
Are we paying for all our friends when we go to eat? Absolutely not. Hopefully someday we'll be able to do that. That would be lovely. But as of right now, it's expensive enough for us to go pay for ourselves to eat.
My Amex card is warm in my pocket most of the time from overuse. So
Great.
Anyway,
Well, this has been awesome. I think it's just amazing to see, just again, some ideas, some passion, the web, good friendship,
it.
love of food. And you don't even really need to know how to use PowerPoint in order to access
yeah,
the web
clearly we have.
and build a follower,
Yeah.
a community of 100,000.
I barely know how to use a Mac. That's my problem. But
Well, we
I
have,
was
some
on
great, we have some
PC
great
using
solutions for
PowerPoint.
that here. So thanks, guys, so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And happy Friday, everybody.
cool. Thanks for having us.